So I'll try to keep this a little peppy since this is the last speech. But Mo, thank you so much for inviting me here to Dubai. This is actually my first time in the Middle East, so this is really exciting to launch our blueprint for blockchain education on university campuses coming this fall. So, all of us here want to be involved in the creation of new online standards. We all want to be involved in that creation process. And that's why all of us here are here talking about blockchain, because it enables new properties and functions on the web that were simply not possible before. So then, the big question is, how do we discover what these possibilities are? So I think the best way to answer this question is to go back in time to 1994, back when people were still discovering what this new internet thing was and trying to figure it out. So I'm going to play a clip of some newscasters trying to explain the internet to their audience.
NBC, GE, Com. I mean...
Well, Allison should know.
What is internet anyway? Wait, how does one, what do you write to it, like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate with, I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Does it bother you at all that these are all people that you don't really know? I mean, that everybody's signing on and having these conversations and whining together or griping together.
I would resent the, at least when you're home, if the phone rings, you have the option of not answering it. On the internet, people can send you messages all the time people you don't even want to hear from.
So it's pretty obvious that back in 1994, we were completely oblivious to what we could create with this stuff. I mean, like, if you were to say these things now, you would be a lunatic. We all have iPhones or cell phones using social media. But just 10 years later, a young Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook for students at the University of Harvard. And at the University of Harvard, these students actually found it very convenient that posting a stream of status updates was actually a convenient way to keep track of your social circles. You didn't have to have conversations with everyone to keep track of what's going on, and thus it enabled more cultural communication. So Facebook began on university campuses and grew through the exploration of student experimentation. So now we're at a familiar crossroads in 2016. Blockchain is new and innovative, but we really don't know where to start. For example, let's try to look at some example of people talking about Bitcoin today.
You have to really stretch your imagination. I haven't been able to do it. Maybe somebody else can.
In Brooklyn.
Yes,
so I could walk in with my brand new iPhone and I could say, here's my Bitcoin, give me the food.
In theory, I don't see
electronic
you doing that,
No,
but
I know.
I feel like someone could.
But
yes.
Someone could do that.
Yes.
So out there science fiction, but some people really believe in it. This has been a real knock on the Bitcoin bulls this week.
I still don't understand it, but I know it's exciting somehow.
It's somehow exciting.
So it seems like we're doing the same thing over again from 1994. Bitcoin is a borderless, border-agnostic platform, has no corporate governance, and is completely mysterious to the public. So perhaps this time, though, we can learn from our experience on the internet and take a more participatory role in this creation of this new standard. So that's why I think Facebook actually began on university campuses and grew through the exploration of students. So can't we do the same thing with blockchain? So I'm Dee Masley, Executive Director of the Blockchain Education Network, and we're a robust network of Bitcoin clubs filled with ambitious students that represent these blockchain laboratories. So in our opinion, university campuses are the perfect place to create Bitcoin microeconomies. I mean, think about it. It's so much easier to figure out how this technology works when you can spend it and use it with your friends around you. Or if you're developing a blockchain application, having your friends the ability to give you quality feedback and iterate it before you launch to market enables you to play with this new paradigm shift a little bit better. And beyond local Bitcoin communities, when one campus does something really cool, it inspires people across the world to bring the success to their own community. And so, through this, exploring Bitcoin and launching blockchain ecosystems on university campuses actually creates a macro snowball effect of pushing this enthusiasm across the world. So, I feel like I know what you guys are all thinking, though. I mean, sure, Dean, this is great and all, but all of you here aren't in university. So where does this apply to you guys? Well, it's simple. Whoops. All right, well, it's simple. You guys need the creativity and talent of these kids who are creating these new things. I mean, if you think about it, all of you here are trying to get an advantage in your sector by using this new blockchain technology. And students can give you that competitive advantage. Having never worked outside of a corporate governance structure, their ability to think outside the box is quite unparalleled. But don't take my word for it. So here's an example of some previous student innovations. So last November, we hosted a hackathon, and 2 students from RIT were dissatisfied with their school's ID system. They were actually able to hack their school card and get into places that they weren't normally supposed to get into. So they thought, how can we improve this? So they used Factum, a blockchain of sorts to store data, to create a more secure and scalable system for ID systems that can be implemented in schools, offices, or other institutions, without even having to set up a database or anything other than putting it on the blockchain. Another example is SIA, a decentralized cloud storage system. So SIA enables people to actually store their data with the same security as offline storage while still having the mobility of cloud storage. And so this enables companies who aren't really feel safe storing their trade secrets and important files on a Dropbox or Google Drive, but with a blockchain, they can have complete control of their information without worrying about it leaking. And so here's where we are today, and that's why we're trying to empower a generation blockchain. And to explain this a little further, generation blockchain are the students who are starting to experiment with this technology, and because they know what's possible now, it's so hard for them to go back to the traditional systems. It's too limiting. I mean, we have an expectation for global, seamless online interactions, whether it's for money, communication, law, trust, and we're willing to put in the work to make these expectations match our reality. So, that's where we are today, and I hope by this point you can see mutual benefit for trying to empower generation blockchain and the students getting into this technology. So, the big question is now, how do we engage these students and make sure that they can succeed? Well, in the past, we've actually found out that empowering students is pretty easy. If you shine a spotlight on someone doing cool things, it really makes them feel like they're doing something important, and it keeps pushing the ball further. But that's not the only thing we can do. So students are hosting information sessions on their Bitcoin campuses and doing lectures, but to inspire new kids to sign up and start tinkering around, you need to have a real call to action, something that students can really sink their teeth into and start experimenting with. And that's why our organization, the Blockchain Education Network, actually provides global events for local campuses to participate in. So they don't have to organize at a big event, and they can participate in something much larger than themselves. So that's where these are some of our global events. But anyways, so what can we do now? Well, getting started in Bitcoin is actually really difficult, right? I mean, you might, as a student, hear about it on the news, read it on CoinDesk or something, but where do you begin? That's why this fall, we're creating a ramp to help students into the industry and give them the ability to start learning what it's about and lead them into creating some cool things. So, this fall, we're partnered with the Blockchain Technology Labs to host a global blockchain hackathon, a month-long hackathon across the world, and we plan to empower business majors, designers, and coders to actually get involved, make teams, and then get the funding and spotlight they need to take their ideas to the next level. And we hope by this plan, we can start to create a lot more of experimentation and interest among students who want to get involved but don't know where to begin. So, this is our blueprint for how we feel like we can empower blockchain experimentation on university campuses. We can tap into the creativity and ingenuity of students who have never used traditional systems and hopefully begin to discover what possibilities are possible. And we don't want to do this alone. In the past, we've actually worked very successfully in building long-term relationships with companies who wanted to interact with students in the network. And that's why we want to reach out to you guys today and say, we want you to involve yourself with the Generation Blockchain, and that's about it. So if you want to get involved, please feel free to contact us at blockchainedu.org or just meet me after the conference. Thanks, everyone.